Hello and welcome to the channel. So here we have a Hughes Kettner TubeMeister 36. Another one of those amps with more knobs on it than a spaceship. Although this does look quite a nice thing. If we turn it round and look at the back, first of all, I've just tilted it on one of my Edison tube data books so you can see it a bit better. So if we look on here now, if we just hone in, we can't go too far with this camera, but if we hone in, we can see that it's got a row of buttons on it here. Look, and 1 watt, 5 watt, 18 watts. Now apparently, while this amp is on 1 watt, 5 watt or 18 watt, it works fine. But when these are, I would imagine you switch these out to get 36 watts. I've not actually plugged this in. But when it's on the 36 watt setting, it squeals with merriment, apparently. And these LEDs here indicate which power amp tube is working. And you can see here there is some, you perhaps can't see that's close in, but basically, if the light is red, then there's no current. If the light is flashing, it's over current, and if the light is off, then it says best bias, which I presume means it's running correctly. So this could prove to be a complex thing inside. It could also prove to be a difficult thing to repair. I don't know, I've not had the lid off it yet. There's a button here, we go round, called learn, but there's a MIDI in, so I would imagine that's something to do with that. Got the foot switches there for the channels and effects. Is that? Yeah, I don't know. Has it got any effects on it? Maybe it's got reverb, hasn't it? Of course, on the back. Oh well. Send and return there, and you can switch that in and out by the look of it. 8 or 16 ohm speaker. Red box DI out. Not sure what that's about. Somebody tell me in the comments if you know what a red box DI out is. I don't read much gumph and stuff. If I don't need to use something, I don't usually bother reading up on it, or if I don't need to repair something, I don't bother reading up on it either. So if we look what we've got on the front, we have volume and power and standby. It looks like we've got 2 channels by the way this is laid out. Treble, mid, bass, master, gain, and then gain, master. Or is it 3 channels? Because we've got 3 master volumes. There might be 3 channels. So we've just got a gain and a master there. Then we've got gain, treble, mid, bass, master and gain. We've got a clean switch, crunch switch and a lead switch. So it's got some serious gadgetry on this one. So it should be a fun thing, this, if we can get it powered up. Should be able to get some blasting done on it for the demo. But the main thing now is we've got to fathom out. I think we'll plug it in first, and I think seeing as we've, looks like, from what the customer's saying, with those things on the back, those LEDs, I think that probably tells us that we've got current issues with the output tubes. Now the customer has swapped 2 of the output tubes, and the ones that came out were some Chinese tubes. So I'm just going to pop that there like that, and let's get this on the current limiter. We've got the current limiter on. Let's switch on and see what we get. It's drawing about 260 70 milliamps, 80 milliamps, 270 milliamps. It's drawing now. You can see 2 of the lights are off and 2 of them are on. So that's the 1 watt setting. That's the 5 watt setting. That's the 18 watt setting. So when we turn, oh, so it's showing one tube with no current. To read out tube manufacturing. Am I reading that right? Dear me. Let me put these other glasses on that are bigger. Insert guitar pick to read out tube matching. Oh. Oh well. That, I've never known anything like this. Well, it's a Jim Dunlop Tortex .88. So I wonder if it has to be a special type of pick. Let's see what happens. Ah, so that does a reset on those. See, what you do is you pop your pick in there. You pop anything in, can't you, really? Pop your pick in there. That's good. There we go. Let's go on to the 36 watt then. Let's do the guitar pick thing again. Oh well, that's novel. See bottom plate for more information. Right, so we're looking at the information on the top, and it says all LEDs off means best bias normal operation. One LED on is equal to no current, tube is broken and has to be replaced. So we've got 2 LEDs on. One LED flashes and one LED is on. The flashing LED indicates a tube that causes overcurrent, and the other LED indicates a switched off tube to protect the amp. Please replace the tube that causes the overcurrent. Please note, if power soak is activated, TSC will indicate no current for the inner pair of tubes, which is switched off by the power soak. So I would imagine that's those buttons on the back then. I'm guessing, yes, power soak indeed. We'll probably switch on again now and have a look. Deary me, what a gadget. Right, back again, and I've just cleaned the lens on the camera with a guitar pick. No, I didn't. Anyway, yeah. So we'll plug in again. I think you had to go on a week's course to learn how to use this amp. Go on a course for a week. Oh dear, that doesn't sound very nice, does it? Deary me. So that's on the 36 watt setting, and that's telling us that we have got one tube with no current. Let's go on to 18 watts. So when it goes on to the soak, it says that the 2 in the middle are on all the time, indicating no current, which is normal, so that looks right. But then when it goes on to there, it's showing one of those inner tubes as having no current, which if that's correct as we're looking at it from the back, then it's that one there. Is it lit? Yes, it's lit. The filaments are lit. Right, we best get the lid off it. Now we've read the instructions. Right, so I've just suddenly realised with this, I've still got the current limiter on, and the bulbs. I hadn't really looked round at that while I was that busy reading all that gump. I've just looked round, and the bulbs are pretty dim. So we have got a bit of an issue there. When I flick off the current limiter, did that left side start to flash? I think we better be careful what we're doing there. I know this has got a protection circuit on it though. So we've got no current on this tube. So let's try and replace this one and see what happens. Be very careful what we're doing here, but as I say, we have got the current limiter on, so bulbs have gone out. Bulbs are glowing. We're drawing 260 milliamps. That's on the current limiter though. Still says no current, so that's not the tube, is it? Let's just pull the tube. Oh, let me just think. EL84 pin out. Pin 9 is the screen. That should be that one. 291. 290 volts. Pin 7 should be the plate. 296. So there's voltage there. Right, I've taken out the outer two. Still got the current at the inner two. Still got the current limiter on. So that's come up fine. Switch off the current limiter. No issues. So it's on those inner tubes. Current limiter's off. We've got no humming or anything. Oh. Right, so I'm just checking the voltages now. So that's on the screen. We've got 349 volts on that tube. We've got plate voltage. Got the same there and the same there. Have we? 350, 355, 351. 351. Slight discrepancy there on the plates of those two, but not only 4 volts, it's nothing. So the amp's running fine on the outer two tubes. Right, so I've got the JJs in the outer two sockets now, and they're the tubes the customer added, so I'm guessing they'll be fine. Put the current limiter back on. Let's just switch off. Switch on again. So that one. So that is the one that's causing all the trouble. by the look of it. Yep, so it's on that socket definitely. I mean, that's what it's telling us, but that just confirms it. When I pulled that tube out, left that one on its own, it really hummed up there pretty bad. So we need to find out why that tube's shutting down, don't we? It's not going to be a nice fault to find. Good grief, without a schematic as well. Yeah, flash it. And you can see that's trying to come up there every time. And it's not, I'm just not allowing it to. It's because of the protection system on there. So I've got the current limiter back on, so I'll turn it off again. So we've got issues there, severe issues. So we better get the bottom off it and have a look. Right, we're looking inside this amp, and it's the problem with all of these again, these PC boards. Tiny little components on there, surface mount resistors. Someone's been in here as well. Look at the flux all around these sockets. These have been soldered here, and badly as well by the look of them. They all look cold. The EL84 sockets are under there. And someone's been in here. Yes, there is flux all over the output tube sockets, so someone's been in here soldering round. Quite know why you'd solder around looking for a short, I don't know, but somebody's definitely been in this and decided they don't want to mend it. So I'm kind of looking at this now, and we've got to take this top board out. And then we've got to get this bottom board out. There's a lot of work stripping this amp down. All the knobs have got to come off. Got a lot of stuff here. Got another board here. So this to fix this amp is going to be a big job, and it's really whether or not it's going to be worthwhile doing. So really looking at this amp, you know, you could play this amp on 18 watts or lower all day long. It works absolutely fine on those settings. Just take out the inner two tubes. I can't find a schematic to this amp, and if I could find one, it would probably give me more of an idea of what could be wrong with it. So the question is, we've got no current on that tube, but it flashes over current when we turn the current limiter off, and then it's like this has its own protection system that then cuts the current, which for some, I would imagine some people looking in here, they'd probably think, oh well, it's showing no current. But if you actually watch the lights on the back, that light begins to flash for a short time, and then it goes to no current. So it's like there's an overcurrent on that tube socket, and then the protection cuts in, shuts it down. You know, if we just switch the amp on and it just came up normal, like it did when we didn't have a tube in there, it just came up normal and just showed no current on that socket. Well, obviously we had no tube in there, but we didn't get all the buzzing and stuff until the tube's in. So that tells me dead short. So I think what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to go and do a bit more research and see what I can find out about this amp before I start taking it to bits. If I can't find any more information about it, then this may have to go to a tech that's far more advanced than I am. Remember, this is vintage guitar amp repairs. It's vintage for a reason. I don't repair, I mean, I have repaired a lot of these and people have seen me repair these type of amps, but I always look at them from a basis of, you know, how much it's going to cost the customer based on how long it will take me to actually fix this, given the fact that people who are used to repairing this type of thing would repair this in half the time that I'd repair it. So, you know, to be right with the customer. So I'm going to go off now. I'm going to see what info I can find out about this, and see if I can find out how this amp, you know, how this circuitry works, basically, because we've got no idea. We've got no schematic. We don't know. I don't know whether it's cathode bias, fixed bias. Can't see any bias resistors. Can see the screen resistors. I know they're screen resistors. I've measured them. They're 1K. Don't see any. You know, I've got an array of resistors on here, but I presume, and again I'm speculating, that these are to do with the power soak part. The first size resistors, the 5 watters, and they're all of a fairly low value. I could be wrong. Maybe that's not the case with that. I don't know. And we'd have to be testing and doing. So I'm going to go off and see what I can find out. Right, so state of play with this Hughes Kettner. So I've decided that I'm not going to repair this amp. And I've recommended to the customer to just use it on the 18 watt settings. And it works absolutely fine. The protection circuit cuts off the other 2 tubes. So it just runs perfect. The reason I'm not repairing this is because I did a bit of research online and I watched a video on Brad's Guitar Garage, and these amps are extremely complex and it would take a tech far more advanced than I am to repair that amp. And you know, as I say, this is vintage guitar amps. I do vintage guitar amps. I mean, like I say, people have seen me repair these type of amps before, and you know, I have repaired a few of them, but that one is just, you know, the bias circuitry on this is so intricate. There's chips in it, there's all sorts of stuff in it. Extremely over engineered, as Brad put it, and I totally agree with him. He's mended a few of these. Obviously he's a great tech, but even he's, you know, he's got a couple of, a part 1, I haven't watched part 2, but I watched part 1, quite a lengthy video, and he goes through the schematic, and you know, what did he say? You have to study this schematic for several hours before you get an understanding of it. And the other thing is that if I repair this, as I've said in the video, even if I could repair this amp, and maybe if I took it to bits and had long enough at it, the time it would take me to fix it against a guy that's way more advanced than me would fix that in half the time. If you know, these younger technicians, they're into these chips and things and stuff, and I just never have been, never had the interest in them. For me, you know, building vintage amps, just basic guitar amps and so on, repairing vintage amps, it all goes in with the guitar playing, and that's what my channel is about. It's not just about, you know, repairing anything that you know, I get asked to repair. So we can, you know, enough waffling. We can use this amp as 18 watt. It works absolutely fine. I've put the JJs in the outside tubes. I can't believe as well that this amp came with Chinese tubes in it, with those Chinese tubes. And apparently, sometimes when the tubes blow, it blows the circuitry. So, you know, if you've got one of these, don't put cheap tubes in it. Let's have a bit of a look through it then, and have a listen. And I have had a bit of a play, and it does sound good. I'm not playing ever so well at the moment because, as you can see, I've got a bit of a badly finger. but we're going to give it a blast anyway. It's on the 1 watt setting at the minute. And that, it's really loud, you know, that's only turned halfway up on the clean channel. The reverb's really good on it as well. You remember it's on the back, the reverb. So that's sounding pretty good. So let's have a look at these overdrive channels then. So this is the crunch channel. We need to turn that. This amp is 2-channel and not 3-channel as I thought. This crunch and lead are both on the same channel, but you've got separate controls. You've got a gain and a master for each one, so you can set your lead higher than your gain. It's a very bright amp. Man, this is a bright guitar as well, to be fair. So that's actually quite a nice tone there. Let's go full tilt on the lead. Amazing amount of treble on these controls. Way overkill. The mid control is almost like a treble control. But overall it's quite a versatile amp. Having these gain and masters for each, you know, for clean, crunch and lead makes this amp really versatile. So you can really crank these channels, you know, with the gain, turn the masters down and still get a reasonably good sound out of it. With the clean channel is really nice. Let's just set this reverb. So the reverb's not bad as long as you don't go too mad with it. So here are the settings. That's the 1 watt setting. That's the 5 watt. And that's the 18. So 1 watt and then 18 watt. That's 18 watts and 1 watt. So again, this, you know, it all works fine, absolutely, and it'll work all day long like that. The protection system just shuts down that, you know, that pair of tubes. This amp runs fine. It's quiet and it's really loud as well. You know, at 18 watts, it's good enough for gigging, doing, you know, obviously massive gigs. But then again, everybody mics up, don't they, nowadays? So, you know, do you really need 36 watts? Do you really need to go and spend £200 to get it repaired? You know, by the time you've done, it's going to be a fair old bill to get that repaired. And you know, don't forget, it needs tubes. It'll probably want a full set of tubes. If you're going to repair it, you need to really put 4 new tubes in it. So you've got, you know, you've got £100 plus there, haven't you, straight away? And that's if you're just putting JJs in. So use it as it is. That's what I recommend to the customer, and I think that's what the customer's going to do. So that'll do it for this one. So we don't win them all, but you know, common sense has prevailed. There's no point taking something to bits to try and fix it if you don't have the confidence and the knowledge to mend it. I don't. So I'll leave that to others that do, who are far better than me at repairing amplifiers. So thanks for watching. You all take care, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.